Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Twisted Tiff for you again. Doing pretty good at this whole shebang, ain't I? Nah, I don't think I'll ever get used to this crap. Ever. Especially finding the time to do so. But I'm trying. I am back at it again for you guys for another 13 Ghosts series. And today I thought I would talk about 2 ghosts that you can wrap into one, because it'll make it a lot easier. Because if I try to do it 2 separate ways, it will probably get way too complicated. And I'm not feeling that. Just not feeling it. So, we're gonna just mush them together. And today I'm going to be talking about the dire mother and the great child. So how about we get into it, shall we? Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the dire mother, shall we? So the dire mother is played by Laurie Soper. Not Super, not like King Supers. If you don't know what King Supers is, you're probably not in a definitive area that knows, that has King Supers. It's just the grocery store. Don't try to complicate your brain to try to figure out what it is. Alright, but her name is Laurie Soper. I'm gonna just go with Soper. The dire mother isn't called the dire mother. The only reason why the dire mother is called the dire mother is because that is basically the symbol in the black Zodiac, which is the dire mother, which fits quite well. But the actual ghost itself, surprisingly so, like all the other ones that I've done so far, have a name. Amazing. She's not called the dire mother. I'm sorry, but would you want to be walked around being called something else or some sort? No? No, thank you. I'm pretty sure if my family had it in any way, shape, or form, I'd probably be called the asshole. Somewhere around that area, But the dire mother's name is actually Margaret Shelbourne. Margaret was actually an attraction at a freak show because she was only 3 feet tall. And back in those days, anybody with any sort of abnormality compared to how it is today, we have somebody who has a abnormality here. They're very unique. We love people with abnormalities or just one extra little gene in their cells or in their genes, We can't help but adore them now, but back in those days, unfortunately, that's what all the freak shows are. If nobody really knows what freak shows are, I don't know what to tell you. Come on, freak shows are probably the creepiest damn things back then, because what people would collect in order to show off back then, flabbergasting. 2-headed twins, 2-headed snakes, people with beards that are women, 7-foot tall individuals that, in today's society, we would much think is just a normal individual, because they are. They're just normal individuals with a little extra. Just a little extra. That's all. That's it. We're all the same on the inside. We all bleed the same color. They didn't get that back then, let me tell you what. No, they didn't. But a freak show is basically, back then it was people who couldn't fit in with society, got kicked out of where they lived back in the day and didn't have anywhere else to go, so they joined the freak show. And usually it was even people like tattooed people back then. Wasn't a normal thing, so it was most definitely a type of freak show situation that they would go into. The bearded woman, the strongest man, the 4-legged individual, the contorted twins that ended up being the Siamese twins. There we go. Wow, can't even get those right. Anything like that, you usually saw them in a freak show, unfortunately. So, what does she do? She ends up going to the freak show. Well, while she is at the freak show and, cleaning up after a show and everything like that, the tall man actually comes into the, big tent while she's cleaning one of the areas and rapes her. Unfortunately, that kind of situation when it comes to freak shows is actually very common back in those days. Wish it wasn't, but it was. Well, because of this, she ended up having a son named Harold, and Harold was born out of rape, and the actor who plays him is C. Ernest Harth. Eventually, the kid grew and grew and grew into an adult, but never actually had the mindset of an adult. Why? Because when he grew over to 300 pounds and didn't really know how to do anything for himself because he was completely spoiled by his mother. His mother spoon-fed him till the day she died, and he had diapers his whole life. So that's more or less to say about that guy. No. Well, she had a tragic end. The freak show thought it would be a very funny game to play with her, to put her in a sack and kind of just toy with her. Well, while she was in the sack, unfortunately, she suffocated. And when Harold found out about this, shit got real. Harold couldn't find his mother anywhere, and when he went on a rampage to find his mother, he finally found her and saw her dead. It brought a huge outrage out in Harold, and because of this, he went on a killing spree like no other, chopping all the freak show up into little itty-bitty pieces. Every single person he saw, they got the axe. What a cheesy joke. I love myself sometimes. The dude didn't even care if you were a customer or a freak. He just killed everybody, literally everybody in his path in order to get the revenge that he wanted for his mother. Would we all do the same thing? Probably not. Well, okay, most sane people would not. Let's be honest, yeah? Okie dokie, okie dokie. Well, when the owner found out that Harold was the one that did all of the slicing and dicing, the only thing that the owner could think of was have everybody go after Harold himself. And he ended up getting mutilated to no end, and that's how he passed away. Now, shall we go into some facts and some interesting things that I'm really confused about because I just don't get it? I think we should. Let's do this. So in the DVD commentary, it actually states that Harold died because of starvation, and the reason being is because the original plan was he was going to roll over on his mother, suffocating her to death that way. But obviously, they decided to go a little bit with a darker route on that, because if you really think about it, all the other ones have a little bit of an interesting story to it, so if you ended up doing something like that, it just wouldn't appeal the crowd as much. Now, one thing I don't understand is, so there is another alternate ending for Harold. There is a moment where he ends up throwing up, and he ends up choking on his own vomit. This is where it gets a little, makes you wonder. So the angry princess, right? She died by mutilating her body and slitting her wrist. Hence why in the movie, when she's a ghost, she has all these lacerations all over her body, right? Well, the thing that doesn't make sense to me is Harold got mutilated too, but there's not a single scratch on him in the movie. Weird, ain't it? But another situation is Harold has food all over his bib, and not just normal, okay, yeah, he got fed, spoon-fed, and everything like that. No, it looks like vomit, like the original way that he was supposed to die. So it kind of confused me on that, reading that. So he was supposed to die by choking on his own vomit, yet they kind of kept that theory and look of him in the movie compared to how he's mutilated. But it's like every other person that is in the movie look exactly how they were supposed to when they passed away. Hence why, little Miss She-Thing, Miss 3-foot-tall woman, is pale in the face because, in like a little blue, is because she was suffocated to death. So it's like, why didn't they change the way that he looked in there? Did they want to keep him more menacing? Because we'll be honest, a dude with an axe that's 300 pounds that looks like he does in there, nobody's going to want to F with him. Bet your ass on that one. Just throwing it out there. I sure as shit wouldn't, and I know sure as shit you wouldn't either, unless if you're some bodybuilder like the Hammer, then more power to you. Another alternate situation that they said, they were trying to kind of make him more look like an innocent, kind of like the withered lover. But the thing is, though, the dude looks menacing enough as the individual is in there. Granted, it's probably because, you know, he wants to protect his mother and everything like that, and blah, 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 all of that fun stuff. But to be quite honest, he already looked like a creepy individual to begin with in the first place. You might as well have just turned it up a notch a little bit. But it is known that they did tweak his story because, like I said, it was a little bit of a weak, you know, story background, whatever you want to call it, on that situation. Now, the only thing that doesn't make sense to me, too, is apparently he had the mind mentality of a 1 to 2 year old. And yet he ended up killing all these people horrendously with an axe. Granted, dude's a big dude. I just don't understand the whole situation of how a 300-pound man who hasn't really done anything for himself his entire life, because he doesn't even go to the bathroom. She changes his diapers for him and, you know, feeds him and all of that fun stuff. How did it all of a sudden, you know, he put 2 and 2 together? How does he really know what death is unless if he saw, you know, on the TV what it is? What made him randomly decide to snap and that the axe was the best situation to go? Because I'm sorry, yeah, like, a 2-year-old can have a temper tantrum and everything like that, but, like, I have never once seen a 2-year-old try to chase anybody with a knife. I'm gonna tell you that. And if they did, oh, that's a sad story. Ooh, I can't imagine. I mean, could it be probable? If you've ever watched Pet Sematary, the original, that Gage kid did a pretty damn good job. And that dude was a youngin' in that, and they convinced him to do that type of crap. Possible, I think so. Also, another thing that I don't understand is, and this just keeps going into every single ghost I have read about. So their file symbols that they have on their thing, like I said, the Angry Princess has a barber razor. Does it make sense? No, I don't think it makes sense. Does it make sense to you? Because it doesn't make sense to me, I will say that much. And then the bound woman, you look up on that and it does not have really, she doesn't really have a file picture for hers. Now that I think about it. Carrying on. But his file is a baby rattle. Why? Does it look like he's carrying a rattle in the movie? No. But the baby rattle is his symbol. I would think it would be an axe. Just throwing it out there. He has it in the freaking movie in his hand. But no. It's a rattle. I guess I could get it. He's dressed like a baby. He has the mentality of a 1 to 2 year old. Yeah, I get it. But it just doesn't make sense. That's it. He never had a rattle in his hand. Unless if that was like his main thing on the situation where he just carried around a rattle. Another thing that you want to know about this individual is he is called a bastard child. Now, don't take it the wrong way. Okay? It's not a thing that you think. A bastard child is just when the parents aren't married. Now let's talk a little bit more about the dire mother. The one thing I don't understand on the situation at all about it is, so when they're explaining the dire mother, they talk about how, you know, she was a part of a freak show and everything like that. But when they're explaining a little bit more, they talk about how she and Harold, or Harold and her, whatever, ended up moving into a freak show. It never really, like, when it's explaining their story, it says like they've been there the whole time, that they never left type situation. But then when it explains her story a little bit more, it talks about how she was raped at the freak show and everything like that, and all this crap, and then they left to find, you know, another place to live, and then it kind of explains how they ended up at another freak show. So I was like kind of confused. So I was like, so this was not the same freak show the whole entire time? They ended up finding a different freak show, or some or other on that situation. But I thought that was kind of intriguing. But I was like, I guess it's whatever. They ended up at the same situation anyway. So another thing that makes no sense to me. My apologies for my dog. So another thing that makes no sense to me is a lot of people actually feel like that she is a more of the most evil ghost, and the only reason they say that is because of the fact that she is the whole reason that her son is the way that he is, which I kind of get it, but that doesn't mean she's most evil ghost there. Like, let's be real. I'm pretty sure we all believe that it's the freaking jackal that's the most, like, not sane and most evil one out of the whole group. Because the other ones, at least they have an understanding circumstances as to the reason why they are the way they are. Seriously. If you read into them, you're like, I'd be pissed too. I would be pissed too. Just throwing it out there. But they say that she is the most, like, evil of the bunch. I don't agree to that. Everybody thinks she's the more intentional ghost, which I guess you could say she's kind of like a firstborn son. She can't get shit done herself. She either has her son do it or has somebody else do it for her. Even though in the movie we do not see her, sicking Harold or anybody else for that matter on any other individual that I know of. And I've watched that movie a lot. So, now another situation is you do see that Margaret in the movie 13 Ghosts is blind in her left eye. People don't really know if it's due to the fact of how she died or not, but I believe it is, because when you are being suffocated, it cuts off the oxygen to your vision and your brain and all of that fun crap. So I think the probability is she probably didn't see well to begin with in the first place, probably in there. And so when she was being suffocated and having no oxygen, it just left her completely blind in her left eye before she ended up fully passing away. So I guess that's just my theory on it, because I read into it and all of that crap. But you never know on that situation. And strangely enough, in their little crypt that they're in, the little cage thingy, their little scripture that's down below in their little bunker says Muir? I don't know. Something to that matter. And it means mice. Don't know why they would be called mice, but because have you seen Harold? He ain't a little thing. I could see why she would be called a mice, though. She seems sneaky enough as is, and to get into little crevices if she had the opportunity to do so. So am I surprised? No. But him, on the other hand. So, a little bit more, Harold is actually the fourth male of the Zodiacs to actually get, introduced into the Black Zodiac. Not in the movie, but in the Black Zodiac. Yeah, you understand? Okay. But Margaret, on the other hand, is actually the fifth and last female ghost to be introduced to the Black Zodiac. Why? I don't know. Like I said, the last two ones, the more you know. And her little symbol, just symbol, serious symbol, is a little shoe that I can get. Tiny little shoe. Got it. She didn't have anything fancy smashy. She didn't kill anybody, so I don't see her going wheeling and dealing and all that fun stuff. So her little symbol is a small shoe like situation. Yeah, you know. And obviously, Harold and her are the only ones that are related to each other. Go figure. That would be an interesting situation if they were all related. That'd be one fucked up family. Can you say that? That would be one messed up family. I'll tell you what. I would never want to go to that reunion. And obviously, you know, she is the only female fake victim of rape in the whole movie. And he is the only, you know, ghost that has been brought into the world by rape out of the 13 ghosts. So, the more you know on that situation. Well, now that's just a little bit more to learn about some of these 13 ghosts, and that is the dire mother and the great child. Now, if you want to watch more, and this is the first video that you have watched from me, and you want to go and watch all the other hibbity-bibbity ghost type nonsense, right now, as far as I know, I have a few other ghosts out for you to watch. You can watch those. And if, you know, you don't, that's cool too, but I highly suggest you do. Just throwing it out there. But until next time, my people and my pretties, I am twisted for ya. Au revoir.